know she said we'll be here now. Now it's all you need. And early in the morning when the sun came up, it said, feel a part of everything.
And here we are filming again from Byron Bay, Australia. Today it's a cold, wet and windy one in paradise, isn't it?
Sure is.
And sitting here next to me I have a good friend of mine, Gerry. We've just been for a little surf around the corner. Wasn't too bad, was it?
Wasn't too bad. Wasn't too bad.
It's a little bit cold. It's winter here at the moment, so it's a little bit colder than we like it to. But little bit by little bit we're getting closer to summer again. So I've asked Gerry to come in and have a bit of a chat to us today because he's got an interesting story. He grew up in the Philippines and came over here at a pretty young age, and thought it might be a good idea to have a bit of a chat about, I guess, your upbringing in Australia, and then also a little bit about your family over in the Philippines.
Mm-hmm.
So thanks again for coming in.
You're right, mate.
And I thought we'd just start with a few questions, just so everyone can get to know Gerry a little bit. So Gerry's a gardening enthusiast. The first thing I wanted to ask you is tips. What's your first tip for everyone out there who's got a little veggie patch in the backyard and they're trying to get it underway? What's the number one tip for getting it going?
For getting it going,
Yeah.
you need to get some good.
We've got Gerry's little dog here, Frankie, and he's about to bite his tail. Frankie! So Gerry's got a pretty amazing veggie patch at home. Mate, is it what's the most important thing? Is it sun? Is it water? Is it getting the combination right between tomatoes and herbs? What's the most important thing to get a veggie patch underway?
Oh, I think personally you need to do a bit of homework and see what type of veggies you need to plant, and then you kind of plant them at particular times of the year.
Yeah.
I know that for a fact. And then you need to know how much per veggie needs, the amount of light that needs per veggie. They all require different
Different amounts of light
and water. So yeah, basically, if you get that right, you're halfway there.
That's where I went wrong with my tomato plant then. That never grew.
I'm never going to give you a plant for a present again.
Gerry's also a really keen surfer, mate. What's probably the best road trip you've been on recently around here, looking for surf?
I always have good fun surf trips to Gerry, about 2 hours south
Of Byron Bay.
Gone there with you a few times, and always strike it lucky.
Yeah. It's a beautiful setting, isn't it? It's a national park, and you can camp really close to the beach. It's beautiful area.
And it's never too busy, so
yeah, that's true.
it's great.
The other thing, I've known Gerry for quite a while, and always when we're out in a social setting, people can't believe how old he actually is. Everyone thinks he's a lot younger. Mate, what's your secret? Is it Nivea cream in the mornings? Is it just staying active? What is it? What's the secret to staying young?
I don't know about any secrets, but
chai tea in the morning.
Chai tea. Oh, just get out there and be active. I don't know. Have an Asian parent helps as well. That's pretty good. No, just being active, I reckon.
And as I said, I've known Gerry for quite a while, so I probably wouldn't usually ask a question like this. But, mate, toilet behaviour. You know, there's those people that get in there and they just want to settle in, get comfortable, read a magazine. Is that you? Are you one of those people, or are you in and out of there, get the job done?
Yeah, I'm in and out. No mucking around. Get the business done.
Get it done. Get out. Get on with your day. Now, look, I guess everyone watching today would be wondering, why is it that you look Filipino, but you speak with this Australian Aussie twang? So can you explain to us a little bit about your upbringing in Australia?
Basically, I was born in the Philippines, lived there till I was 4. Mother ended up finding an Australian husband on his holidays in the Philippines, and Philippines is a pretty unfortunate. It's a beautiful country and all, but it's corrupt, and so it's a pretty hard living if you're from not a fortunate family. So it can be pretty hard. So she took her chances and fell in love with the Australian man and said, yes, I'll come to Australia.
Yeah.
And
So how old were you when you moved across with your mum?
I came over when I was 4.
4.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. And
Yeah.
so you moved over, and whereabouts did you move to in Australia?
Initially, he's from Tasmania, so we went to Tasmania, the most southern part, which is the coldest part, which was
Which is it's the most bottom part of Australia. It's almost like a little island which sits right off the coast. Pretty cold down there, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a big difference to the tropics of the Philippines. But we were there for six months only, and then moved north onto mainland Australia.
Yeah.
And a few little stints in South Australia, then to Newcastle, and then Foster Tuncurry, and from there I had my entire schooling from kindergarten to high school.
So I reckon this is a really interesting part about Gerry's story, is that he grew up as a Filipino in a pretty small coastal town in Australia, Foster Tuncurry. What was that like? Growing up as a kid there, being the only Filipino at school, I imagine. And
it was great. Yeah, everyone knew who I was. There was not many other Filipinos. There was 0 Asians or Filipinos. Not much multiculturalism at all in Little Foster Tuncurry, but has a lot of pros, but also cons as well. There was always a challenge, as it is growing up when you're a kid anyway. But I found, I guess, there's a few more, being the only Filipino / Asian in
town.
Foster, in town. Oh well, in school, yeah.
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 How about your mum? Do you think I guess the situation presented a couple of challenges for her as well, just having to learn English and...
Yeah, I think it was probably
friends.
harder for her, yeah. Coming over when she was mid-30s. Yeah, of course, I think her education was not the best, so it was limited her with work opportunities, but my Australian stepfather passed away when I was 8, so it was just mum and I for a lot of that young schooling time. So that was more of a challenge for her than me. But
character building experience.
Character building, without even kind of knowing it. But it was all good. We never took anything for granted. We realised that it was great being in Australia.
Yeah.
And
I guess that's the positive, the positive side of the coin, isn't it? Having the opportunity to grow up in a place like this, like you were saying, parts of the Philippines, it's quite disadvantaged over there, isn't it? There's not a lot of services and money and that sort of thing. So.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What about, I guess, since you've grown up and you've had that opportunity to go back, and you've been to the Philippines a couple of times now, and what's it been like meeting your family, this family that you, I guess, didn't have a lot to do with when you were younger, and since you've got older, you've had the opportunity to go back and meet them. What's that been like?
Oh, it's been quite surreal. You go back there and you're meeting uncles and aunties that you don't remember as a child.
Yeah.
Because you hadn't seen them for so many years, and so they remember you and you don't remember them, and unfortunately I lost how to speak Filipino, Tagalog, so communication was a small barrier, but it's also great because there is a big
connection
big
there?
connection there. Yeah,
Wow.
definitely. So
even though you're not speaking the same language as that,
yeah, well they
connection,
speak English as well. The Philippines is a English speaking country.
everyone out there who doesn't know, where actually is the Philippines? Where is it? How far is it from Australia?
It by plane, as the crow flies, it takes about 8 hours to get to the capital.
Yeah.
So about 8 hours straight. It's not too far. Just below Japan and above Thailand and Malaysia.
It's a group of islands, isn't
It's
it?
a massive group of islands, just second to Indonesia in the size of islands.
And how many there are?
archipelago? Yeah, there's 7,000.
Yeah, right. And so whereabouts these days? Whereabouts are your family, and what do they do? Over there in the country?
They're mainly in the southern parts of the Philippines, called Mindanao Island. Mother side of the family, they're farmers.
Yeah. What sort of stuff do they farm?
Um,
Fruits or?
Yeah, mainly fruit and rice, coconuts, mangoes, or your jackfruit, or your tropical kind of fruit. And on my father's side, slightly a bit more different. They live in the city. It's the second biggest city in the Philippines, and one's a fireman. The stepbrother's a fireman, and sister's like a university lecturer.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so
Is there a lot of them, like all up? How many cousins and would you have? Do you know?
Yeah, heaps. Yeah, from being a Catholic background, they all strongly believe in family, and so all direct family, immediate family is pretty big. And then you've got your second generation and third generation generally living in the same household. So quite different to Australia, but very tight. It's good. It's really
Tight,
good. Yeah.
Did you feel like you were saying before? There's that, even though there's a bit of a language barrier there with them. Did you find that, like, how did they react to you? Were they welcoming and just sort of wanted to show you around? And
super welcoming.
Yeah.
Really warm. Filipinos are really warm, friendly, humble people.
Yeah.
And even when my friends come over, they're just part of the family instantly.
Fantastic. I think that's one of the most interesting things about living in a place like this in Byron Bay in Australia, that you get to meet so many international people and travellers that come in and out, and a lot of them seem to have stories similar to Gerry's, that they've had the sort of trials and tribulations of moving to a country, and then they've also got this fantastic opportunity to get to know two different cultures, the one where they've come from and then also the one where they've moved to. It's an amazing experience. I love chatting to Gerry about it. So I hope you guys have found this pretty interesting today. Thanks again very much for coming in, Gerry.
My pleasure.
And don't forget to head to www. where you can download a PDF document which has a transcription of the whole conversation here today with Gerry, as well as a list of all the most useful words and phrases that we've used. So thanks again for joining us, and catch us next time, where I'll be chatting to another friend about a completely different topic. Thanks, mate. Have a good day. See you later, guys.
When we saw that lightning strike overhead,